Hello, everybody, and welcome to Broadway on a Budget. This is a quarterly program that we do here at the library, and it's to highlight things that you can do in New York, being that we live so close to it, and how we have items here in our collection that relate to them. This program is about 45 minutes, and if you come to the live sessions, we do Q&As after. For those who do not know me, my name is Travis Milliman. I am the Performing Arts Librarian here at Greenwich. And without further ado, let's get started. So we'll start here with our table of contents. So we're going to go over a couple different things. The first being apps and digital discounts. So we'll go over TodayTix, Digital Rush, and Digital Lottery. In addition to that, we'll go over the in-person rush process, and we're going to do memberships. So things like TDF, and then some things like LinkTix, HipTix, MTCs, 30 under 35. These are all programs for younger theater goers, but they're a really wonderful resource to the community. So let's start with TodayTix and the telecharge rush. These are probably the two easiest and most common ways to get a discount. So starting with TodayTix, this is primarily an app, but there is also a website. And TodayTix works with thousands of venues to provide the best price tickets available in the biggest cities around the world, including New York City, London's West End, Toronto, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Seattle, DC, Chicago, and Australia. Wherever you are, TodayTix can help you discover what to see next. And what I really like about TodayTix, like it implies here, is most major metropolitan areas in the country have a relationship with TodayTix, and you can get tickets through that. Same thing with going to like London or Toronto, which are two big destinations. So it's a really great resource to check in with once you get used to it. So this is what the website looks like. You can see here that it's highlighting things like Wicked, which is really hot right now given the movie. Eureka Day is a play we're going to talk a lot about today. It just got a critic's pick from the New York Times, and it's just a really wonderful play. Gypsy, which is one of the hot tickets right now. We'll talk about that as well. So this is the homepage of the website. But like I said, it's primarily an app. So you're going to have to make an account on the app. So when you're looking in your app store, it's going to look something like this. Look for the red square that says Tix. And it's a really easy account to set up. So you can either just do Apple or Google, which is the easiest way, or you can use your email. And when you do that, like I said, it's first name, last name, email, password. That's it. They don't need anything else fancy. It's very simple, very straightforward. And then you'll see a page like this. It's just letting you know that your account is set up and ready to go. And then you'll be able to scroll. Some of these screenshots are a little bit outdated, but like Hadestown and Wicked are obviously still both there. So let's shop a little bit on TodayTix. So when you pick a show, let's go back for a second. So let's say you wanted to pick Hadestown, or in a minute, we're going to look at Book of Mormon. So let's say you pick Book of Mormon. And you'll get a screen like this, which shows the theater. Always important to note where the stage is, which is this gray box up here. And then you're going to want to zoom in. So a show like Book of Mormon, or Wicked, or Hadestown, or Lion King, these are hits. They have recouped, meaning they have remade their investment. And the deals for these are really hit and miss. A lot of the times there aren't any, but in certain time of years, especially when the tourists are not as present, like January, for example, that we're heading into, there are deals to be had. So when you're looking at this seat map, what you're going to want to do is look for things with these little price tags on them. The price tags mean that there is a deal to be had. And when you click on them, it shows you how much these seats are and how much you're saving. So this, I believe, is front and mezzanine, which for me is the best section to sit in for a musical. And oh yeah, mezzanine right here, pro C. So it's $154. You're saving 30%, and this includes the fee. Is that budget friendly? Probably not, but it is a decent deal on Book of Mormon. I will say the newer shows frequently have a better deal. So let's say, or even Hadestown. Hadestown is always very affordable. And so if you look at Hadestown on here, you would see probably being able to get pretty decent seats for under $100. But the next thing we're going to talk about is, in my opinion, just a wonderful deal. So we're going to look at the rush process. And for this, I used Titanic, which is a huge off-Broadway hit. But for the rush process, basically you'll pick a show, and there is an option at the top of this app that will allow you to pick rush eligible shows. And you're going to have to unlock your access to rush. So you'll open it up, and when you want to click unlock, you'll get prompted to share on one of your social medias, or you can click down here, this unlock without sharing. And by doing this, you get access to rush tickets, which go live at 9 a.m. every morning. They do tend to sell out within 5-10 minutes, if not immediately. And so you would unlock it, and you would see it's $47 for this ticket. And now this example is off Broadway, but this also applies to Broadway. So for example, a show right now like Cult of Love, which is a Christmas play at the Helen Hayes Theater, which stars Zachary Quinto, our Mayor Winningham, who was here for Amazing Tales How I Got to Broadway last year. So that's an option where you could get $47 tickets with this. And that's a small theater. Like, it's a great opportunity to see incredible actors in a small space. Cult of Love, once again, is the title. But so that's a rush. And Juliet, which is a huge popular musical, that has rush on TodayTix. I think Eureka Day does as well, like I was talking about. There's always at least half a dozen that have this rush option. The thing with rush, where for Book of Mormon, this example, you could pick your seats. For rush, you don't pick your seats, you get assigned. I've done this a lot. I think I've had a bad seat maybe once. It is usually a limit of 2, so this is not the one you want to do if you're like taking the whole family. But if you and a significant other, or you want to take your mom out for a night on the theater, this could be a great way to do that. The new player, it's been almost 2 years now, in Rush, is this rush.telecharge.com. And this, once again, you do have to link it to socials to get access to it. This is their way of advertising. But once you get in, you get even more options. So you have lottery or rush. We're going to talk about both of them. So this is lottery. You see, this is only some of the options, but Oh Mary, probably the biggest show of the season. Very, very funny. It's getting a new cast at the end of January. I'm very excited to see how that works out. I think it's going to be great. Drag the Musical, we're going to talk about more later. Gatsby is hugely popular. Hell's Kitchen is hugely popular. These are all great, great shows that you can try the lottery for and get access to tickets under $50. So this is an example. This is Romeo and Juliet. Note that it's standing room only, but once again, one of the hottest shows in stereophonic, which we'll talk more about later. And what you do is you select if you want 1 or 2 tickets. Once again, it is a limit. And you just click enter, and then you're going to get a notification saying you've entered, and will alert you if you've won. This is also, once again, a morning thing. I believe 10 a.m. There's a 10 a.m. drawing, and then a 3 p.m. drawing. So you want to make sure you do this early in the morning. And then Rush, same thing. We can do 1 or 2 tickets. If you look, like Gypsy with Audra McDonald, an amazing, incredible show. I saw it last night. It is going to be a big contender all year for awards. It's going to run for a long time, I think. So you'll have time to try rushing it more than once. And you can get that for $54, which is a steal, in my opinion. And you want to be careful. So you see how Stereophonic is here twice, Gypsy is here twice. This was for a Wednesday, so there's 2 shows. For a Wednesday or a Saturday, or some Thursdays for some shows, you want to make sure you're selecting the right time. You don't want to accidentally pick like the 2 o'clock on a Wednesday and you're at work. That would be tragic. So this is Rush. But there's also in-person Rush. This is the old school way. This is if you grew up and were going to theater in the 80s, 90s, 2000s. This is the way to do cheap tickets. And it's still great. What I will say is happening with in-person Rush is that I think more theaters are dialing it back to do more digital and less in-person. So you're going to want to check and make sure that they're doing that. And most show websites will tell you that. So what is Rush? For those who don't know, Rush tickets are tickets remaining on the day of the show. They usually range in price from $30 to $50 and require going to the box office in person. I just had a really wonderful experience in November. I did a morning rush of Our Town. I think I was there by like 10:30. Box office opened at 10. And I got to sit on stage in the pews on the side of the stage that probably about 40 to 50 maybe audience members get to sit in, and probably is even less than that. It's $45. Can't beat that. Jim Parsons was inches away from me. It was wonderful. Now, this next thing I'm going to show you, if you take nothing else away from this class, this is the thing I want you to know. So the Broadway League every week on Tuesday shares their grosses and get sale numbers. Right now, there's so many shows open, I couldn't get it all in one screenshot, so I'm going to show you this in pieces. So if you just Google Broadway grosses, this should come up. There's about 3 or 4 sites that share it, and any of them will do. But what you're going to want to look at is the capacity, which I'll show you in a minute. But you'll see right now all these things up here in green. These are the top sellers. This is the top of the charts in general. But then this is the bottom of the charts. And I will say right now with the holidays, this example that I'm showing you, your options are going to be slimmer for the trick I'm about to give. But if you look at this in like 2-3 weeks in the heart of January, when tourists are at a minimum, there's going to be so many options. So like I said, we're looking at capacity. And the trick here is, I would say anything below 80 for sure, but even 85, if you go to the box office day of, close to when box office opens, you can probably get a rush ticket. Below 80 is not good. If it's below 70, the show is probably, unfortunately, not long for this world. And that doesn't mean the show is bad at all. Hills of California, which is down here at the bottom, is one of the best reviewed shows of the year. People really like it. It does only have another week, unfortunately. It closes, actually, not even another week. It closes this weekend, but it's a limited run. It's not closing early. And then left on 10th down here is, I'm going to reverse the names, Delia Ephron, I believe. It's supposed to be very funny and very sweet. And the Harry Potter show is here at 84%, which is crazy because it's the magic that happens in that show. However you feel about Harry Potter, if you're tired of it or whatever, the magic in that show is pretty out of this world. Here's Our Town. You can see again for 83%, despite an amazing review. It's selling pretty consistently between 75 and 85%. So this is great. So once again, you're looking for every Tuesday this comes out, and you're looking for shows definitely below 80%, but even below 85%, I would say day of rush is probably pretty safe. And anything below 80 is almost certain. Like I said, you're going to want to check the show's websites, especially for box office hours. So this is taken from Eureka Day's website. And Eureka Day, let's see here. So Monday, the box office opens at 12, but Tuesday through Saturday, when there's shows, and Sunday, they open at 12. And so what you're going to want to do is try to find that time and get there as close to that time as possible. Excuse me, because like I said, those tickets do tend to go pretty quickly. This is really wonderful. So for a long time, there's been kind of this, I don't want to say old wives' tale, but this discrepancy that young people can't go to the theater. It's too expensive. And so a lot of the kind of established subscription theater houses have created this young theater program to allow people to go to the theater at a younger age and kind of build that relationship. And they do this to kind of build an audience, if you will. So Lincoln Centers helped me out, see great shows for an affordable price. I'm going to remember that when it's time to donate, for example. So we're going to, this first, apologies. So theater memberships have changed a lot. The big companies like Lincoln Center, Second Stage, Manhattan Theater Club, and Roundabout still have traditional memberships, but there's new programs to encourage younger goers to come, like I was saying. And then also TDF, which we're going to spend a lot of time with. Let's put that aside for a hot sec. I do want to highlight the last few years, Second Stage, the second one here, has been on a roll. So if anyone saw Appropriate last season with Sarah Paulson, that was Second Stage. Mother Play last year with Jessica Lange, Jim Parsons, that was Second Stage. They do really wonderful work, and they've been pulling in these big A-list talent names and also great playwrights. I mean, Mother plays Paula Vogel, who's one of America's greatest treasures. Um, and these are very hard tickets because the Hayes is a very small theater. If you do the subscription, it is a decent amount of money up front, but you ultimately are saving money, and it is a deal. So second stage is one that I definitely always, like, people are looking to subscribe to a season. Second stage is one that I highlight for sure. And they're all great. You can't go wrong. And in my opinion, these are some of the finest theater companies in the city. And second stage is just, I think, especially a good deal. All right, now, like I was saying, TDF. TDF stands for the Theater Development Fund. It costs $42 annual dues. And you might be like, oh, like, I don't want to pay money. I don't know if I'm going to use this. But the thing with this is the tickets TDF gives you are frequently tickets that are well over $100 in price. So if you use this 2 or 3 times, like, or not even use it, if you buy 2 or 3 tickets, so you could bring your family of 4 or 5 to one show, pays for itself. I cannot recommend enough TDF. There are qualifiers for TDF, but I would say a vast majority of the population qualifies in some way. So it was founded in 1968, and TDF sustains live theater and dance by engaging and cultivating a broad and diverse audience and eliminating barriers for attendance. So let's look at those qualifiers. So, as you can see, it's a lot of people. Students, teachers and school staff, people under 30, union members, those on federal disability, retirees, government employees or civil servants, not-for-profit staffers, full-time hourly workers. That means you are not salaried, you are eligible for overtime. Artists or arts professionals, members of the armed forces, veterans, freelancers, and members of the clergy. Now, all of these qualifications, TDF will ask you to prove it in some way. A lot of times the pay stub, they will get in contact with you about how you need to prove that. There's also info on the website about how you can prove that. But let's make an account. Once again, it's a pretty simple account. I know sometimes you go to a website, you're like, ugh, I don't want to make an account because they want your social security, your blood type, your, I don't know, the how much your house is worth. Like, it's like crazy information that is just not relevant. But TDF, once again, it's pretty simple. So it'll take you to this page and you'll just do create account right here. And see, it's very straightforward. You want your email, a password. Oops, sorry about that. 1 second. Just gonna go back. Your email, a password, your address, your name, all just very straightforward stuff, nothing crazy. And then you get access to this. Now, once again, because it is the holiday season, because it is the most popular time to go to New York, pretty much, your options are not as robust right now. I took the screenshot yesterday. But if you check in January, when those numbers are down, there's going to be tons of shows, I bet. And it does come and go. You have to check really fast. Earlier this week, I heard that Othello, which is opening in the spring, starring Denzel Washington, and another one that I'm blanking on, but two like Picture of Dorian Gray starring Sarah Snook from Succession. That was also on here, and they were gone pretty instantaneously. So you do have to check back here with a degree of regularity if you're hunting for something. But if you just want to go see a show, there's tons of good options still. A Wonderful World, the Louis Armstrong musical. We were very blessed. We had Orrin Squire at the library talking about this musical as part of our Broadway behind the scenes panel. That is on YouTube if you want to check it out. And it's just a really wonderful show for me. I was saying at the panel, the choreo is especially wonderful. Like, it really stands out to me, especially the tap choreography. And James Monroe Englehart, who plays Louis Armstrong, is just, he's never bad. If you can't be entertained by him, there's something wrong with you. And so you can see there's lots of options here. So most of them in January, like I was saying, that's when things slow down a bit. So you can pick your date, whichever date works for you. And this is the option if you want to, like, take your family to the theater, you're getting together with some college friends for the weekend and you want to go see a show, this is probably the way to do it. Because you can get sometimes up to like 10 tickets for a show at a discounted price. So here, Louis Armstrong, quick math, that is $59, I believe, which is pretty, that's about, musicals are about 59 usually, and especially for Broadway. And like I said, they give you great seats. For appropriate, like I was talking about last year, appropriate, they gave me like fourth row center orchestra on the aisle, which is just, I don't know how I got that. That was pretty amazing. So they do a really good job of making this worth your while. To talk more about off-Broadway, I mentioned Drag the Musical earlier. I am going to say this, and some people are going to be like, no way, that's true. But it is. Drag the Musical, I would say, is probably the most wholesome show on Broadway, right? Or off Broadway in New York and Midtown right now. It is all about family and community and acceptance and finding joy. And it's really magical and wonderful. And I was crying by the end. The whole audience was crying by the end. It's just really amazing. And it's like a good cathartic cry. So you can see there's tons of options here, including even in December. Off Broadway, there tends to be more options. If anyone's a RuPaul's Drag Race fan, this is full of Ru girls, and it's really wonderful. Cannot recommend this show enough. It's very fun, and just kind of like an easy, lighthearted, feel-good day at the theater. All right, so now we're going to get into those young theater goer programs. The first one here is LinkTix. So LinkTix is Lincoln Center's theater program, or young ticket goer program, and it's for both the Vivian Beaumont, the Broadway space, as well as their off-Broadway spaces. And you can see here, so Blood Quill is in their off-Broadway space right now. This is by Katori Hall, who, in my opinion, is another one of the kind of treasures of the American theater right now. And that runs through December 29th. That's also, I think, on TDF right now. Just really wonderful, classically done American drama. Like, cannot recommend that enough. And then Floyd Collins is coming in March, I think it starts. And Tina Landau, who joined us also for our panel, she is directing that, and she's also the co-conceiver, and is going to star Jeremy Jordan of Newsies fame. And I'm going to butcher her name, but I believe Lizzie McAlpine, I think is how you say it, and she's a big name in kind of indie pop right now, who started in the theater and is returning for this. But LinkTix, so it is for people ages 18 to 35. And basically just sign up. It doesn't cost anything, and you get $32 tickets, and there's like a fee, so it ends up being, I want to say, $37, I think, or 42, something like that. But it's a great deal, and once again, always great seats. I was front row for Blood Quilt with these. And then HipTix is next. Excuse me, sorry, voice is starting to give out. HipTix is Roundabout's program, and that is for shows at the American Airlines on 42nd Street, frequently for Studio 54, but not always, and for the Pels, which is their off-Broadway space. And just like LinkTix, it's just very basic info. It's free to sign up, and then you get, I want to say they're $30 tickets. It's for people ages 18 to 40. What I'm seeing with all of these programs is that the end of the age bracket, the older age bracket, is, I think it's going up a little bit. A lot of these, when I first started looking at them, went to 30 or 35. And now you're seeing like HipTix, for example, going up to 40. And a lot of the off-Broadway theaters also have these, and they're also starting to, I feel like, go up to an older age bracket. MTC, 30 under 35. So it's a $30 ticket if you're under 35. And the Friedman, which is the Broadway house for this, is getting a very exciting show this spring called Old Friends, the Sondheim Tribute. And it's going to star Bernadette Peters and Lea Salonga. But Manhattan Theater Club, in general, does so much wonderful work. Really can't recommend them enough. And the last one Second stage, like I was saying, they're the strictest. It's 30 under 30. I don't even think you sign up for this one. It's literally just a discount code you enter. And the thing with all of these is that you have to sign up or you have to go to the box office and present ID and prove your age. However, even if you are over the age of these programs, there's a hack around it. The buyer is the one that has to be underage. Now, what you should not do and what you cannot do is buy these and then flip them. But if you wanted to like take your mom for her birthday to go see a show, or your boyfriend or whatever, what you can do is buy it. You're underage, they might be like a year or two above age, and you're picking up the tickets and you take them. And it's super, super fun. I took my mom for her birthday one year to see My Fair Lady. Super, super fun and easy. All right, my favorite part of the presentation. These are 5 shows that I'm very excited about. And I'm just going to talk about them briefly if my voice will cooperate with me. Starting with Stereophonic. Stereophonic only runs until the 2nd or 3rd week of January. It is won Best Play at the Tony Awards this year. It is extremely, extremely popular. It's about a rock band in the 70s making an album and kind of the drama that comes with it. The other cool thing about Stereophonic is that playwright David Adjemi put out this really wonderful memoir back in 2020. It's called Lot 6. And it's all about kind of putting yourself in art. And it's really powerful. And if you're an artist or a creative, you'll relate to it definitely. So if you see the play or you want to read about the author before you go see the play, check out that book for sure. We have it here at the library. Eureka Day, I've been talking about this one. I've been using examples for this one. I'm so excited about this one. Eureka Day is about a school in, I believe, California, and it's written pre-pandemic, which is the scary part. And basically, there's an outbreak of some viral disease, and it's about this principal played by Bill Irwin, who's best known as kind of America's Greatest Clown, Mr. Noodle for Sesame Street fans. And he's trying to like kind of bring the two sides together of like vaxxers and anti-vaxxers. I mean, it's extremely funny. It sounds political. I know people are tired of politics, but it's just you will laugh so hard. It is so incredibly funny. And it doesn't matter what side of the argument you're on, you will enjoy this. Our Town. Like I was saying, I had the great pleasure of being able to sit on stage at Our Town. And with Our Town, you're gonna go, and it's not gonna like, unless you haven't seen it before, because it might change your world if you haven't seen it before. But you're not gonna go and be like, my life has changed forever, because it is still Our Town. But there's something so beautiful in the simplicity of Our Town, and this production is acted so, so, so well. That and I just left the theater feeling very rejuvenated and happy, even though it's a very sad ending. But it's just great, and it's Our Town, and I can't recommend it enough. Something else cool about Our Town is there's some local history involved with it, and that probably the most famous production starring Paul Newman and what was one of his last performances originated at the Westport County Playhouse just down the road. And we actually have a recording of that on DVD available here at the library. Now, what I may be most excited for this theater season is the new revival of Gypsy, starring 6-time Tony winner Audra McDonald. I believe I already said I saw it last night, and it is just a special, special production. I really cannot say enough good things about it. It is an expensive ticket. If you want to get a deal on this one, you're going to have to rush. That's just kind of the facts. There's no way around it. It's going to be expensive for a long time. But you also might just want to like spend some money for the holidays and kind of splurge, and cannot recommend a better show to do it than Gypsy. All the classic songs are amazing. Stephen Sondheim wrote the lyrics. It's just Really wonderful. And finally, my last pick is one of the buzziest new shows in a long time, maybe since Hamilton even. It's called Maybe Happy Ending. And like I said, it is a totally brand new musical. And a completely original, totally new musical. Although there are a couple this season actually. It's just in the age of movie musicals, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just so rare and it's exciting to go into a story and not know it from a movie or a book or a historical event. Just really exciting. And basically, maybe Happy Ending is about two robots that fall in love. And that sounds hokey and cheesy and corny, but it is so beautifully performed. Darren Criss and Helen J. Shaw were the leads. Darren Criss, you might know from Glee, or the Ryan Murphy universe, are both just fantastic. And the music's kind of cool and jazzy and unique. I just really, really recommend the show. It's also one that's pretty easy to get a good deal on. I feel like it's selling pretty consistently around like 90%, between 85 and 90%, which means if you go out there and look for either discount codes or on TodayTix or Rush It, there's ways to get a good deal on this one. Now, this one goes out to our college students who may be watching or high schoolers home on break and you're looking for something to do. Here's a couple other fun, like not theater things that you could do in the city during break. The first thing we're going to highlight is some musical events, ranging from one right down the road to one in Brooklyn, a few in Manhattan. So first off, top left here, Gogo Bordello, or at this point I would say kind of legendary Romani punk band. Um, they're playing the Capitol Theater right down the road in Portchester on December 28th. And if you have not seen Gogo Bordello, it's always a party. It's always a really good time. And it's loud and raucous, and you just want to dance, and it's fun. Going all the way across here, 12:31 at City Winery. Lawrence, who's a really buzzy indie pop band, kind of soul too right now. They are a brother and sister duo, and they're doing kind of a stripped down set, if you will, at City Winery on New Year's Eve. Two sittings. I believe it's like a 6:30 and 8:30 or 6:30 and 9:30, something like that. Um, they have this song that was all over on lots of commercials called Don't Look Back. I hope I didn't get that wrong. Aaron will let me know. And it's just a great, great party, New Year's, ringing the New Year atmosphere. Speaking of partying and dancing, I guess this was an unintentional theme. If we look here, January 9th through 12th, Jamie XX of the band The XX, his solo kind of DJ electronic dance music. He has a multi-night residency at the Park Avenue Armory in Manhattan. And the dates are technically sold out. And there's a few here that I think are low on tickets. But this is what I will say about a sold out concert. In the age of scalpers, I always recommend looking at things like StubHub, Game Time, SeatGeek, Vivid Seats, in the days, probably more like 8 or 9 days out from the actual event, because those scalpers are trying to flip these seats. And they'd rather take a minimal loss than a total loss. So there are ways to get tickets to like a sold out event like this a few days out. Looking over here in the bottom left, Lion Babe, who are a really cool like R&B duo, are doing a set at Baby's All Right as part of the NYC Winter Jazz Fest. And I would also encourage you to just go look at NYC Winter Jazz Fest website because everything they do is really wonderful. And now back to our budget theme. Over here, this is a really cool opportunity. I have to work this night, otherwise I would be going. De La Soul, legendary hip hop group, maybe just got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Super amazing lyricists are playing Geffen Hall at Lincoln Center. And the event is pay what you want. So I think they recommend $35, and that's great if you can do that, but you can also pay 15, you could pay 75 if you're feeling generous, like whatever you want to pay, which is really cool. And I really love that Lincoln Center similarly to their TodayTix program, is making accessible art for people in the city. Here at the library, we also have museum passes. This is just a small sampling. So we have the Guggenheim, MoMA, the 9/11 Museum, Brooklyn Botanic Gardens. You might look at and say, it's cold, it's December, it's January, I don't want to do that. But remember, they have that wonderful greenhouse. I believe they also have a holiday light display. Any of these options are just great ways to spend your time off. And with these, I would recommend calling our lending department, which you can find their number on our website, and they can tell you all about these. I believe it's that you take them for 3 days. You can't reserve them in advance. You have to come day of to get them. But they're a wonderful, wonderful way to explore the city. And most of them get you into the museum for free. Some of them, it's a discounted admission, but you can't beat a free. Like the Guggenheim is free, which is just out of this world. Let's see. I include this. I'm only going to talk briefly about this. The late night shows are free. So if you Google the Daily Show tickets or the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon tickets, it'll most likely take you to a site called IOTA, which is what you see over here. And you select the date you want, and it's almost like a bid. So you'll say, like, I want 2 tickets. And they frequently ask you, like, why do you want to come? And you're right, like, I'm a big fan, XYZ. And they do what they can to accommodate all the ticket requests. For the purposes of this, where we're talking a lot about the week between the holidays in January, those shows are already sold out. You have to do this usually minimum a month in advance. But it's a really wonderful time. Like I said, it's free. It is usually during the day, so you have to get there by like 2:30, 3 o'clock sometimes for a 4 o'clock taping. But I've done the Colbert Show, I've done the Daily Show, and it's just a wonderful time. And I think this is one of our last things here. So real quick, if you have a theater lover in your family, you're looking to get them a gift, there's 2 things you could do here. So first, we're going to talk about gifting tickets. If you know a show, that's a wonderful experience to like get that under the Christmas tree or Hanukkah or Friendsgiving or whatever. But gift cards are also great for this. It gives the user more control. Maybe they like an aisle seat. Maybe they like a certain section in a certain theater. And TodayTix, Telecharge, Ticketmaster, SeatGeek, those are kind of the big 4. All offer gift cards, and it's just a nice little something you can give to that person in your life. Other options, if you want swag, such as this wonderful Wicked Bucket hat, or this Lion King snow globe, or these Playbill PJs. Stores like Theater Circle, which is in Midtown across from the Majestic, where Gypsy is playing, where Phantom played for a long time, they have swag like that. Or the Drama Bookshop on 39th is full of cool stuff you can give that theater lover in your life. Definitely check both those stores out. They're a really wonderful resource. And 2 more quick things here. So just some quick tips for you. When you're looking at the size of a theater, small versus big is always great to remember. The Helen Hayes and the Friedman. So Friedman currently has Eureka Day. The Hayes currently has Cult of Love, that Christmas show we were talking about at the very beginning. Those are the smallest. Not a bad seat in those houses. I would say most theaters on Broadway honestly don't have a lot of bad seats, but those 2, you can't go wrong. Versus the huge theaters like the Broadway where Gatsby is, or even I seen Gypsy last night. I could see if I was like way in the back of the Majestic, like that would affect my experience potentially. So think about the size of the theater and look at previews and versus when opening night is. Previews are usually cheaper, especially like early in the process. You can frequently get some great deals. So research that and look at the reviews, because if you see something like it's a critic's pick, for example, not a hard fast rule. Look at Swept Away. It got a critic's pick and unfortunately is closing at the end of the year. But if it gets a critic's pick, that frequently is going to at least temporarily up ticket prices, up demand, and it's going to be harder to get a deal. So keep an eye on that. And also look at understudy performances. So a great example of this currently is Sunset Boulevard, starring Nicole Scherzinger, the St. James. Tickets for when Nicole is on, there's not a deal to be had. It's very expensive. The St. James is massive. So you're either like 40 million feet in the air. It's so high and way in the back. or you paid a lot of money and you have a great view. However, her understudy, Mandy Gonzalez, who is equally amazing, she's just terrific. I believe she started in Hamilton. She is on a minimum once a week. And when she's on, sometimes it's even on TDF. You can usually rush those shows, and it's a lot easier to get those tickets, and it's still a wonderful experience. So, in conclusion, planning a trip to Broadway can be intimidating, but once you learn the tricks, it can be doable. Do your homework. Remember, I said if you take nothing else out of this session, watch the grosses. You can learn so much and make so many educated choices from watching the grosses. And finally, if you're here in Greenwich or Fairfield County, feel free to stop by if you see me on desk and ask questions for recommendations. And this is where I tease you. So for my people who registered and are coming to the live session, you will get an email from me with some more tips. And I will say, we do this quarterly and it changes just a little bit every time. So if you come to our next session, which I don't 100% know when it'll be yet, but keep an eye out on our calendar. I'll maybe have some new information for you. And like I said, if you'd register for one of my live sessions, that's where you get even more info. So I hope to see you at the next live session. If you're watching this, or if you were at my live session and are now here watching this, thank you so much for coming back and checking in for the info. And I hope to see you really soon. And come on and check us out over here at the library. Have a great, great day, everyone.